Hello, my name is Rachel, and I am the Thrifty Crocheter. Never mind my work shirt. I just got off work a little while ago. Just coming from work. But I wanted to give you some more, let you know some more people that I watch. Some of these are going to be repeats, but I've put them into categories, if you will. Three new people. First one is his name is Jay Tuck from Moonlit Moth Creations, and this dude is phenomenal. And he'll tell you in his videos, he's only been crocheting. He just started crocheting 6 weeks ago, and the things that he has made already, like he showed this sweater that he made for his mom, and the couple of bags I think he made. I mean, he's just he follows the bag o' day patterns, but sometimes he puts a little twist on them, and he just does wonderful work. And then he in this last video he was also talking about that he also does soap making, which I'll talk about later. Lucas Yarn. The next one is Lucas Yarns. He's another really good one. He just recently did this game where he was making granny squares, but he was rolling dice, and like every number meant something different, and then he put all the squares together to make this big blanket. And then he just recently put out a tutorial for his rectangular granny squares, and the way he did it was a really nifty idea. Instead of making two squares and then sewing them together, he had a whole new idea on it. And he said it was something that his aunt taught him, and I just think that was a really cool idea. Another gentleman is MDL Crochet. I really like him. He's really nice. And he likes to do a lot of Tunisian crochet, and he's just a really funny guy. I've seen him in some of other people's lives, and he's just really funny. He's a really neat guy. Okay, next category I call the Boggy Brigade, and the head of that is Nancy from She's Got Yarn Too. This is something that she started a couple years ago, and because her mom asked her to make these blankets for Boggy Creek. Boggy Creek is this camp down in Eustis, Florida, that's for kids with chronic illnesses and their families. And these are a lot of the main ones that kind of got together to help out. But I tell you what, it's kind of, but that's just like the icing on the cake, because like they've gotten like tons. Like last year, they went well past the number that they wanted people to donate. I mean, there were all tons of people, and you could crochet in any fashion, whether it's just with granny squares, or if you wanted, there were a few creators that created their own style of a blanket for Boggy Creek. So there were a lot of people did some of those designs. You could come up with your own design. But the kids like a lot of bright colors. They were, saw in a video last year, the kids love bright colors, a lot of fun colors. And then they tell you all the specs on how long and how wide they have to be. And if you're just going to do a square one, I think it's like 40 by 40. And then also Creations by Jax. Jax from Creations by Jax. She's a big hoot. She is just so funny. Of course, Nancy, She's Got Yarn Too. Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming. Lots of fun. She is so funny. She's so hilarious. She does, every month she has her Bod Hat-a-Palooza, where every month they make a bag o' day pattern hat. Speaking of Mad Mimi and Jan the Alaskan Crafter, the two of them, every month they get together and they have their hooker versus hooker. And guess what? I'm in it. I'm excited because it starts tomorrow, and I can make it. And every month they have a different project. They pull a subby and another YouTuber, and then they had two other people, and they had to pick the colors and the project. The least amount of colors is 2, the most is 5, and like whatever project was for last month cannot be the same as this month. and the color has to be solid, like no stripes, no variegated. And for the month of May, the project has to be a baby item. So it could be anything from a blanket to a toy to a wearable, whatever. And for May, the colors have to be green, yellow, and white. And whatever of those three, they have to be the exact same shade. Like I can't use, if I decided to start with the mint green, then it has to be mint green through the whole project. Like in the yellow, whatever shade of yellow I use has to stay that same shade of yellow. And the white, as we all know, even white comes in shades. So, and I can't use different ones. And I am going to be, since I am the thrifty crocheter, I'm going to be using my thrifted yarns as much as possible for this project. And I cannot tell you what I'm making. I can show you the yarn I'm using, and I can tell you that I'm in it, but I just can't tell you what I'm making or show you what I am making, because we get judged for the project in June. And so far, now May 4th is when they're doing the judging for April. But so far the subbies have won. But anyway. But and Jan the Alaskan Crafter is another good one I like to watch. And she's also really funny. She's such a lot of fun. Charmed Grammy. Charmed Grammy Crochet. I love her to death. She is so sweet and so kind. And she actually lives in the Buckeye State, but she's still really, really cool. Billy the Crafty Floridian. Her name is Crafty Floridian. She lives down in Florida also, just like Nancy from She's Got Yarn. They both live down in Florida. Right now, she helped out last year with keeping track of everybody's writing down people's names and how many blankets they did, and then at the end of the time she wrote down, she told everybody what their total was. But she decided after that, she decided to retire from that and let somebody else do it. And so, but now though, this time around, she is making blankets, but she's asking people for squares. But they have to be specific. They're gray squares that have to do with Halloween, Christmas, and St. Patrick's Day. And I believe her video said they had to be 5-inch squares. And then she was putting them together to make blankets for Boggy Creek. Memphis Makes Sam. She's across the pond, as they say. And she's doing a lot of different things. Like I know one thing she's been doing lately is the book called Impkins, where they take different parts to make these little critters. But she's also really, really a lot of fun. I like her. My Precious Yarnery. She's actually in Canada, and I like her. She's really sweet. She's really nice, and she recently just made, using the Granny Square yarn and some other yarns to go with it to make these sweaters. She made like 3 different sweaters, you guys. 3. And they're gorgeous. Nina's Knots Crochet. Oh, I love her. Right now she's been doing Tunisian Tuesday, where she's showing everybody how to do Tunisian crochet on Tuesdays. Last year, she decided to get on the crochet fun and ask people to send squares. Oh my goodness, she thought they were going to send like 1 or 2 here, 1 or 2 there, and they were sending like boxes full of squares, and she had to ask sorry, she had to get elves to help with getting them sewn together. And this year she's doing it. She's sewing them together, and she's some of this. And on every blanket, there's a little heart sewn on them. And I think she's also doing 5-inch squares. And She wants fun, but doesn't want just granny squares. She wants them to be like fun stuff, like something that has like a shape on it, or they're bright colors, and they got to be really fun so they pop a little bit. Anyway, this next two, I put under markets because they crochet things and they go to a market to sell their stuff that they made. The first one is Happy to Hook Creations, and I like her. Really nice lady. She can be kind of funny. She makes a lot of loveys. But the way she makes her loveys is she'll buy a stuffed animal and then make the blanket around it. She's made other things too, but I know the main thing she likes to make a lot is the loveys for her markets. Next one is Rose. Rose likes crochet. Rose from Rose Likes Crochet, because she will tell you she likes crochet, she likes yarn a lot, and she says it just like that. And she also makes stitch markers, and she will tell you that too. She likes to make stitch markers, and she does go to take herself to markets. But she's also got a really heart of gold because she also likes to do things for, like she has this In the Wings program, and sometimes she tells you about the things that they need, and some of it is stuff that you can crochet, and some of it is stuff that you can purchase to send to them. She's also helped out with the Buggy Brigade last year, making sure people, she put out the word out there for people to make blankets. She's just got a real heart of gold to help people out and to help a lot of people. She is just so sweet. I really like her. I have one more page. I know. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, not sorry. Other crafts. It's a longer list because a lot of these people do more than just crochet. First one I have is Cinnamon Stitches. She is one of my favorite girls. She's like one of the first ones I started watching because she crochet, she knits, and she knits with knitting needles, and she also knits with one of those hat looming machines, and I forgive me, I don't remember the names of them, but the name of those machines, but she does that. And she just recently started picking up dyeing yarn and spinning her own yarn. And that's a brand new art for her. And I applaud that. I would not have the patience and the time to do that. So I applaud anybody who out there, and I know there's a lot of you out there that do that make their own yarn. You know, they dye it, they spin it, and everything. And I just applaud that because I don't have that kind of ingenuity to do that. Okay, the next one is another yarn. A very sweet lady. She has red curly hair because she both crochets and she knits. And right now she's working on some kind of project where they're making these really huge squares, and every month it's a different pattern. But last year she also made some blankets for Boggy Creek, and I think this year she's probably going to make some more. And she also showed a couple other things that she's made recently. But she does both crochet and knit. Be Creative Crafts. She does a lot of different crafts. She does a little bit of everything besides crochet. These Creative Hands Crochet, she's another one that does a lot of different crafts. I know for a fact she's also another one of those yarn dyers, and she's given away and sold a lot of her yarn that she makes. She'll further say in other live videos, she makes a lot of other different crafts. Her and husband, they do live videos on the weekends, and they do a lot of giveaways. And they're both really a lot of fun. I love their room. They have this really neat VW bus in the background. There's a little miniature one, but it's so cool looking. I just love their vibe. And yeah, they're just she's just a lot of fun. Crafting Kitty. Oh, she's another person that is just kind of a real morning person. Just hi, how are you kind of a person. And but she's still fun. Because she crochets and she knits. And then she does other crafts too. Like sometimes I know she's done that, I would say bead painting, but that's the wrong word for it. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Where they put all the little dots in the pictures. Yeah. She does that. She does some other crafts too. She's fun to watch. Michelle Jasek. She's from Canada. She would tell you at the end of her videos, if you love thrifting, crafting, and of course crocheting, then watch my channel, because that's what she does. She loves to go thrift shopping like me, but she goes thrift shopping not just to buy yarn, but to buy other stuff too. And she has what she calls this old man feel to her. She does a lot of crafting. Like, not only she did crochet, but I know she's sewn projects. She's done some knitting. She's done a little bit of painting, but mostly a lot of sewing and crocheting, and she just likes to make all kinds of crafts, and I love watching her. NOA Gnome Creations. Oh my goodness, this lady is such a hoot. And that's the one I'm going against for Hooker versus Hooker. And I love her, but for this game of Hooker versus Hooker, she kind of intimidates me. Don't let, because she likes to make her gnomes. She is also doing the Imkins. She does a lot of different crafts that are well beyond me. So, but she's a lot of hoot. She is so funny. She wears the greatest hats sometimes, and her glasses. She changes some of her different glasses that she has. One of her set of glasses I really like. She's just so funny. She's such a hoot. I really like her. And of course, I told you about Nina's Knots Crochet, because she crochets, and she will tell you she does do a little bit of knitting, because she has knitted some sweaters and shawls before. So she likes to do, because she'll tell you in her videos that she talks about yarn, and she talks a little bit about knitting, a little bit about crochet, and a lot about yarn. But she does like to do knitting. Passion Knit Kelsey. Passion is spelled with a K-N-I-T. Like she was saying, I actually watched one of her videos for the first time. It was a live video, and she was talking about she's done everything. She's crocheted, knit, sew, needlepoint, cross stitch. If it's got a hook or a needle that goes with it, she's done it. She's done it. She's done it all. And she still does them. Right now she's more focused on crocheting. And I don't know how old she is, but she looks like she's like her and her buddy when I was watching this live video. They couldn't be much more in their mid-20s, maybe. Early mid-20s. If that's incorrect, I apologize, but they look really young. Excuse me. But it was so fun. Oh yeah, Rose likes crochet. I think I talked about her earlier. She also likes to make other crafts besides just crocheting, because she likes to make her little stitch markers, and she's shown some of her stitch markers before. Valerie's Cuddly Cat Crochet. She's another one that has other hobbies besides crocheting. Fiber Spider. Oh, I love Fiber Spider. I love Fiber Spider. Fiber Spider, not only does he crochet, and he has some fabulous things that he crochets, but if you go to his videos, he reads books aloud. And he'll have a book, and it'll be like this book from this chapter to this chapter, and then another video from this chapter to this. But he reads those. He does that. He also gives tutorials on games, like card games and board games. I'm not sure if he knits, but I know he crochet. Oh, yes, I do remember. He does knit, he does crochet, and he has tutorials on both. But I just think this man is just wonderful. He's so very kind, very humble. He's a very humble man. Every time somebody tries to talk about him, he's just like, oh, no, go on, go on. He's like, no, don't talk about me. I'm not. Hey, he's just very, very humble. Very, very humble. And then I'm going to talk about Jay Tuck again, because in one of his news videos, like I was saying earlier, he makes homemade soaps. And if you've ever smelled a homemade soap, you know what I'm talking about. I wish I had some right now, because where I live in northern Indiana, every year in the fall, well, it's supposed to be fall, but sometimes it's cold and sometimes it's more summer, because it's like August, September, either August or September, depending on the date. It's called Johnny Appleseed Festival, and the crafts that are there that people are selling can only be from like that time period. So there's a lot of homemade soaps there, and oh my gosh, they're kind of, no offense to Jay Took, but they're expensive, and I understand from the processes of why it's so expensive. But they're a little pricey, but they smell so good. I love the smell of homemade soap. I love this. I love the smell of homemade soap bars. They are so wonderful. So good. Oh, speaking of which, I was watching this video, and he was explaining how to make your soap bars go farther, so they don't, you know how like soap bars kind of melt and shrink, but he explained how to make them last a little longer. That I never knew that there was a way to make it last longer, and now I do, and that was helpful. But kind of I know that was a lot, but I wanted to put them into categories, and I would try to put everybody down in the comments, and that's a lot of people. I do have a finished project. I talked about this before, but I got my bag all made, and it does have 2 drawstrings, so you can just pull it closed. And now this pattern does sort of look like a granny, but it isn't. Although it does have some V-stitches, but it also has V stitch, and also has a shell, but the shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2, another double crochet. So it's not quite like a granny, but it does look similar. I heard somebody say it's like adjacent. So yeah, I can kind of call it like adjacent to. And the pattern that I was looking at asked to use clear ones, but I couldn't find any clear ones. But I'm glad I used these, because I like having this pop of color on there, and on the bottom too. And I think it came out really good. And that's yarn from here. I did have to buy those, and they're called pony beads. I did have to buy the beads. They're pony beads, and when they used to come in little baggies. I don't know if anybody remembers they used to come in little baggies, but I had to buy. What did I do with my box? I know I have it. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. They come in a great big box, y'all. And I think I showed you before that the pony beads, okay. There's the hole. I don't know if you can see. My camera is not. Here's the hole for that pony bead. And I was going to use these triangular ones, but I'm sorry, but the hole on there is so, I know it's harder to see, and I apologize. But the hole in that one is much smaller. And that was like, that's frustrating. So, I don't know. I'll figure out what to do. Because they even came with letters. They even had ones with letters. But the ones with the letters had just as small a hole as the triangular ones. So, I don't know. I will figure out something. Because I do not want to waste them. Do not want to waste them. Oh. I only got out my ball winder and I knocked over. Oh, I was originally going to make the handles out of these. Those are what you would use, because these are what you would use to make an I-cord. And I just knocked that one. Okay, I'm dropping everything. But they weren't cooperating with me. So I found a video on YouTube to create an I-cord for those. Let me see if I can turn this around. I don't think I can. Okay, so we're going to do it this way. Where are you? There you are. There. Yep. And here's... Oh, if I can. Can you see? I have done a little bit of caking. You guys, I never realized how little space that the cakes take up as opposed to a skein of yarn. I was like, wow. Oh, here's something interesting. Something that I found at Walmart, and I was telling the Hooker versus Hooker people about this. And I bought it because I thought it looked really cool, but at the same time, it kind of angers me. Because as we know, crochet has to be done by hand, whereas things that look like they're like most of the sweaters you buy at the store, they're made with yarn. Those are knit. Machines can only knit, they can't crochet. No, I did not make this, although it does look handmade. And on their receipt, it said crochet boho. Let me see. But I thought that was interesting. They tried to give it a crochet look. I'm like, it does kind of look like crochet, but I'm like, okay, great. We're sitting there telling the world that crochet has to be handmade and not done by a machine, and somebody's out there trying to prove us crocheters wrong. That kind of angers me, but at the same time, I really like the look of this bag. I couldn't help myself, I bought it, obviously. But anyway, I know that was a lot to give you. I'm gonna, I think my next go around is I'm gonna list, and it is a long list. And it'll be a list of people that come on and do lives. And there's a lot of people who like to do lives. I know some people might think that I'm silly that I'm sharing, but we're all supposed to support one another. So I think it's important to shout out people and not only shout them out, but tell what you like about them. And yeah. So, in fact, I think tomorrow afternoon, barring nothing happens, around 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to try my hand at a live, though I really need mods. I need moderators. That would be very helpful. I would feel better about doing a live if I have moderators. Please let me know. Because I'm not quite sure how to go about doing that, but if you can help me, that would be great. But I want to wish everybody a very wonderful day. Happy end of April. Because tomorrow is the 1st of May. And the reason I'm laughing is this morning I caught this video where the guy was like, "It's gonna be May." I'm sorry, I'm a very bad singer, but I just thought that was funny. Anyway, I want all of you to have a very wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.